Recorded at WMEB Studios at the University of Maine, it's time for All Three Phases.
It's good to get back to OTAs and get back out here with the guys. Got a lot of work to do, but we're excited about it.
There's a lot of people yourself to be the starter based on Tom's situation.
I'm just going out to practice every day, trying to improve, trying to get my teammates better, me better, and we'll go from there.
Welcome back to another episode of All Three Phases. After a 2-week hiatus, both of us were a little bit busy with some summer things, some trips, some people to visit. But nonetheless, episode 10, June 7th, 2015. And in our 2-week hiatus, thank God all this DeflateGate stuff has started to slowly quell, but that's all the eye of the storm.
I was going to say, I really think we're just in the eye of the storm.
Yeah, because it's going to, once, I believe June 23rd.
June 23rd.
Once that comes around, we're probably going to have a lot more to talk about, but we'll catch up on what we've missed the last 2 weeks. OTAs have started. There are a couple storylines that have been widely reported on that we want to start with. Of course, we'll start with Garoppolo since we opened that up in the intro, but there's also some other storylines that maybe not reported on as much that we'll delve into a little bit. And whatever comes up during the day, Cody's got his Twitter up right now, so whatever breaks during the show we'll end up bringing on to you and, giving you a fresh take on it, as soon as it happens. But like I said, we'll start with Garoppolo. If anyone out there who's a Patriots fan who has the SportsCenter app like myself, who likes to, keep up to date on my favorite teams, if you're a Patriots fan, they keep sending you updates about Jimmy Garoppolo and throwing interceptions in OTAs. That's the only notification for the Patriots I've gotten in the last 2 weeks, and I've gotten like 3 of them of the same article. And I guess we'll start off with this. How do you think Garoppolo's doing in OTAs? And do you think it's a sign of what's to come if Tom Brady does serve any suspension at all, let alone 4 games?
Yeah, first of all, I have no idea what's going to happen with Brady in the deflate conversation. That'll come when it comes. But, I'm glad we're getting back to football here. And, I'm not too worried about Jimmy Garoppolo. I actually had the privilege of being able to go to training camp last year, and I watched Jimmy Garoppolo look utterly horrible in drills, whether it be 7-on-7, whether it be 11-on-11. Even when it was just receiver drills, he just wasn't hitting the spots. He just looked very lost out there. But then we saw him in preseason games, and granted, the competition he was facing wasn't anything too special, but still, we saw him succeed in those opportunities that he got. So I'm not too worried about it. Not only that, but he also already has some game experience this past year with the Kansas City debacle, where he came in and, he led the team down the field, scored a touchdown, hooked up with Rob Gronkowski. Like I said, we don't know how hard Kansas City defense was going at that point. Probably not very hard.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people argue that it was garbage time and that it wasn't as warranted as, say, a start where he can do that.
Right, but it's still a touchdown in an NFL game. Regardless of whether or not they're going 100% or 70%, those are still NFL players out there. And if you're going to make a bad pass and you're going to throw one into a guy's chest, he's going to catch it. He's not going to drop it if a guy was going to pick him off. So I'm not too worried about him. He also has experience in the Buffalo game at the end of the season last year when Brady played the first half, I believe, and then Garoppolo came in. And granted, he couldn't lead them to a victory, and they ended up dropping the season-ending game. But I'm really not too worried about Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that he has a lot of the skills that the Patriots like in a quarterback. That he needs to work on his decision-making speed a little bit, but he's got a quick release. He's got that short, intermediate passing game. But honestly, he has you might yell at me right now, but I think he has a little bit more touch than Brady in the deep passing game.
How dare you?
And I think that we talked about it with Steve, I think the last time we were on, we talked about how guys like Aaron Dobson and Brian Timms, those are 2 guys to keep an eye on if Jimmy Garoppolo does play anytime this regular season, that if they can get on a hot start, maybe they can continue that momentum into the rest of the year, even when Brady comes back. Just because Garoppolo has that nice touch, he can let that ball go on those go routes, hit his receivers, and Dobson and Timms, we know those 2 guys love to just run deep, jump up, catch the ball. We know that they aren't quite at the same level, clearly as Edelman, but even as a LaFell or Amendola, that short, intermediate route game, running those routes, creating separation, they like to burn people, and Garoppolo's skill set should help them increase their value on this team.
Garoppolo's been talking about delving into the playbook a little bit, and obviously trying to learn it. It's a pretty dense playbook. But do you think they might switch the focus of the playbook to match his style if he does have to start those 4 games?
Yeah, definitely. That was something we talked about with Steve last time we were on too. We kind of disagreed there, which is fine. But Steve didn't seem to think that they are going to. I maybe said I said it poorly. I said dumb it down. That's a kind of harsh word. By no means I'm saying Jimmy Garoppolo needs a playbook to be dumbed down for him. But any times you get a quarterback who's been in an offense for, Brady's been here for what? This is his 16th, 15th, or 16th year now. He has that playbook of, he remembers plays from the 2000 season when, everyone but him wasn't even on this team. Everyone on this team wasn't even out of college yet. Some of these guys were in elementary school, I'm sure.
Julian Edelman being one.
I don't know about Edelman, but I'm pretty sure Malcolm Brown would have been in. Malcolm Brown's younger than us, so he would have been in elementary school when Brady was in his rookie season.
Absolutely, he would have been. I was joking about Edelman saying that he was playing at recess and would pretend he's Tom Brady.
True, but no, I think that the Patriots staff does a good job of identifying what they have in a quarterback or in any player at that spot and knowing what their strengths and weaknesses are and putting them in a position to succeed. I don't think that Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick are going to sit down and say, we got Jimmy Garoppolo here, we're going to treat him like Tom Brady Jr. No, you don't have Tom Brady Jr. You have Jimmy Garoppolo, who is I'm not saying he's a very good quarterback. He has the opportunity to be a very good quarterback in today's NFL. I don't think he's going to be this Hall of Fame guy that some Patriots fans think. I think he's going to be a very, very good, above-average guy who, with how good this team is, has the opportunity to bring another Super Bowl to Foxborough when his time comes to play, hopefully, quarterback for the Patriots. But right now, I do think that they are going to slim down this playbook quite a bit, and that does scare me because I think when you take away the multiple looks and versatile Patriots offense, you are going to run into trouble because let's face it, I love Julian Edelman. I love Brandon LaFell. I love Danny Amendola. After Rob Gronkowski, how many guys on this offense truly, truly scare a defense?
Scare is in, I can't stop that? Well, no one.
There you go. And
Julian Edelman and all those other guys you mentioned are so small that people think they can easily stop them. And they can. Julian Edelman will get a quick catch and then will get instantly tackled by 3 guys. But they're not necessarily worried about it. They just cover him harder.
And that's what I'm saying. But that's no disrespect to anyone on the Patriots offense outside of Rob Gronkowski.
It's all about size. Rob Gronkowski
is the only planet player on that offense outside of Tom Brady.
Yeah, you look at him and you can't just say, it's crunch time. We actually need to stop this guy. If you say that about Julian Edelman or Danny Amendola, all you gotta do is put an extra body on them,
and that's it.
Gronk takes 2 or 3 bodies and eats them for breakfast. He just eats coverage,
and that's
it's
just
so
it.
Easy.
I just think that a lot of the players' success when they come to New England isn't so much. It's a mixture of everything. It's a mixture of how hard they work, their natural skill, their abilities, along with the coaching and the game plan from week in and week out. When you take away one of those pieces, the overall value of the player is going to drop a little bit, and I'm slightly concerned that when the Patriots playbook shrinks, even if it's only 25%, that's going to make it that 25% easier for defenses to know what's coming next. I just think that, you saw it in Baltimore. You saw it against Indianapolis. You even saw it in the Super Bowl a couple plays. Granted, they didn't run a double pass, Brady to Edelman to Amendola or a Brady to Solder offensive lineman deception play, but still the fact that they had those plays in their back pocket, the Seahawks had to recognize that and prepare for it, which took away from preparing for, simple routes. You look at the play that Julian Edelman, the game-winning touchdown. That's not a very, in-depth hard play to, realize. But the fact that poor cornerback, Harold Simon, had so many other things going on in his head made it hard for him to, focus on, wow, they're at the goal line. They're probably not going to do too much crazy stuff right here, and then bang, they're up 28-24. Patriots end up winning the game.
Well, and that's really the point of trick plays is the most effective time, the time that a trick play is the most effective is the first time you run it because no one sees it coming. And then once they know you have that, they're
then
like,
they
okay.
have to prepare for it.
Exactly.
It's almost like the value of a trick play comes after you run the play. That's when it really comes. You look at the Colts. You look at what oh my goodness, what is the Colts head coach's name? Chuck Pagano said in his interviews coming up to the week. Oh, well, we had lots of conversations with the Ravens about those plays. That is huge. That took away so much from their, normal week-to-week game plan. The fact that he had to go call John Harbaugh and listen to him probably cry for an hour and a half about, Shane Vereen, an ineligible receiver, and then going to Michael Omanawinui. It's so, that's what makes the Patriots the Patriots. That's what makes Bill Belichick, he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. That's what makes them that. And when you put a young quarterback, when you take your Hall of Fame, greatest quarterback of all time, you take him out of even only one game, you have to slim down the playbook. I don't care what you say. I don't care how much Jimmy Garoppolo reads the playbook. The fact that Tom Brady has been in this offense longer than Jimmy Garoppolo has probably been playing true tackle football scares me. That part of all this is what scares me. I just don't think that he will have the same knowledge of the playbook. I don't think they'll have the same, quantity of pages in the playbook, quantity of plays. They'll still be a very good offense. They should be. They have no reason not to be. Jimmy Garoppolo is a very good player. Rob Gronkowski is, I still say, the best receiving weapon in the NFL. And I still will take Julian Edelman over 99% of the wide receivers in today's NFL for all the intangibles that he has. But I just think that when you dumb down a playbook, it normally does not lead to good things. I guess the only good thing to take away from this is the Patriots' offensive playbook is so big to begin with. The fact that you take some of it out, you got to figure it's probably the same size now as most other NFL playbooks. But I just still don't think it's a
not
good thing.
not as big as Chip Kelly's, but we've made that
sarcasm.
Well, we've made that.
We've had this on another show, but
yeah, basically Chip Kelly's playbook is simple and effective. But to go back to my original question and to answer it myself, you kind of already answered it. Am I worried about Jimmy Garoppolo as quarterback because of his performance in OTAs? And absolutely not. This is why OTAs are here. They're to get better, like he said in our intro, to get better, to improve his teamwork with the rest of the team, his communication, his comfort with the rest of the team, especially since he knows in the back of his head that he's probably going to be starting at least 2 games at the start of this season. And I just bring up another example of why I'm not worried is a story from the Super Bowl. You look at Malcolm Butler, who was burned on that same play that the Seattle Seahawks ran at the end of the game. Malcolm Butler got burned on that play 9 times out of 10. In fact, probably 10 times out of 10. And so obviously that didn't have a negative effect in the Super Bowl. It obviously had a positive effect because everyone on the defense knew it was coming, and Malcolm Butler knew that this was not the time to get burned, and so he corrected his mistakes that he found, in the offseason and in practice. And that's what practice is for. It's to get better. I'd rather have Jimmy Garoppolo throwing a million interceptions in practice if he only throws 1 in those 4 games that he starts.
No, that's definitely it. And no, I'm not saying that I'm seriously worried because of his practice. I don't want to get that confused. The fact that he's throwing a couple of picks in practice, granted, it's not like when he was throwing picks last year to Revis and Browner and those guys. Now it's, Darrell Roberts and Logan Ryan and Bradley Fletcher. That we'll talk about them in a little bit, but that makes me a little bit more concerned in itself. But anyways, I'm not too worried because of his practice. His practice looks so far, like I said, I'm just worried about the fact that playbook is going to have to shrink, and how much is going to be taken out of that, how much easier is that going to make teams be able to prepare for the Patriots. The good news is you really look at some teams that aren't that good on defense, really. You have Pittsburgh opening night, who, they're going through a whole defensive philosophy change. Then you have Buffalo, which will probably be the hardest challenge. And if Brady gets down to 2 games, he'll take that. And, Jimmy Garoppolo will end up playing against Buffalo. That could easily be a loss. Then you got Jacksonville. And then the 4th game is Dallas. In Dallas, I can't imagine that Brady's going to miss that game. That's a huge game. New England in Dallas, 2 of the most valuable teams the NFL has, 2 of the most hated teams they have. They want the hate money bowl to happen. That will happen, but even if it doesn't, I got to imagine Jimmy Garoppolo can go into Dallas and hold his own.
Even with Jimmy Garoppolo, it'd still be the hate bowl because,
True.
people still hate
True.
the Patriots whether or not it's
Oh,
Jimmy
that's true.
Garoppolo. It would just be a little bit more hatred because Tom Brady's
There you
there. But I guess that's a good place to transition. We talk about I talked about Malcolm Brown a little bit. Or Malcolm Butler, excuse me. I get the Malcolm.
That's going to happen a lot.
That's going to happen a lot. We talk about Malcolm Butler and OTAs and how he got burned in that in practice. But we talked about stories that aren't really getting a lot of press, and I think this one is one of them that Malcolm Butler hasn't been to. He hasn't been to OTAs yet, has he?
I don't know what the story is. I don't know if he's there not practicing, or I don't really know what happened. Just it seems kind of weird that your Super Bowl arguably MVP, the guy that I've heard internal rumblings of the fact that they have high hopes for him, think that he is going to be a number one lockdown cornerback, isn't there. A lot of media is coming out and saying that he's still recovering from a left shoulder injury. I hope that's the case. Again, I don't really know what's happening. I just think it's a little weird that you have Logan Ryan and Bradley Fletcher coming out as your number one cornerback pairing when you have this kid who all offseason the team would just leak out the fact that they have such high hopes for him.
Yeah,
And
just like
it's just
he's
kind of funny.
Such potential.
There you go.
Yeah, but where is he at though? Like
Yeah.
it's just yeah, it's a little strange. That cornerback pairing is a little bit scary, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm not really excited the fact that Logan Ryan and Bradley Fletcher are the number one cornerback pairing. Granted, I don't know what else they have. Obviously, I would like to see Butler get some play. I think that he'll be back soon enough and he'll start playing again, hopefully with the same intensity that he's always had. But I've Logan Ryan is. I have a very love-hate relationship with that player. It seems like I want to talk him up. I want to say that this is it. This is when he's going to turn around. This is when he's going to turn around. And every time it seems like he just lets me down. I look back at the Baltimore game of 2013. He had a spectacular game. I think he had to pick that game, and I was just thinking, wow, this here we go. He isn't going to be a number one corner per se, but he's going to be a very solid number two, number three guy. And then last year, it seems like he would just keep getting burnt, which I don't know how because it's not like he was on number one guys. He was picking up the guys, after Revis, after Browner, heck, even after Arrington. He was on the fourth guy on most sets, but he was still giving up passes, and don't even get me going about that end of the first half touchdown to Chris Matthews he led up against the Seahawks when they're on the, I don't even know, they were close. They were in the red zone, within the 5-yard line, and he's playing halfway in the end zone. Like, get up on the guy. Get on him. If he does a great move and burns you, so be it. Don't just let him walk into the end zone, jump up, and catch the ball. The fact that he didn't even contest that play just makes me mad. I just don't think that's the type of guy you want as your number one cornerback.
No, absolutely not. And I think I agree with you on that notion. I'm not saying that this cornerback situation is ideal, but I will say that going into this, you and I both knew this was going to happen. You and I were expecting this after the offseason moves of letting Revis go, letting Arrington go, letting all these guys go. Obviously, the Patriots' focus on defense is not going to be their cornerback situation. That goes without saying. It's not reading between the lines. They've basically written us a novel about what they want to do on defense, and that's stack, the front seven and really go after the quarterback. So in terms of cornerback situation right now, yeah, it's friggin' dismal, but I feel like we were to be expected, and I don't know. I understand your complaints, and I understand you like how bad that cornerback pairing is because I completely agree with you. I'm just saying, what did you expect? Because that's exactly what I expected.
I don't know. Maybe it's just kind of like this is the realization that this is what it is. Maybe there was just some hope that I thought that another player might be coming in. Obviously, by no means am I expecting a number one cornerback to walk through that door anytime soon. Kind of like Rick Pitino. Larry Bird's not walking through that door. Darrelle Revis isn't walking through that door. Brandon Browner is not walking through that door. But it's just kind of sad that I think that we're at the point where it's Logan Ryan and Bradley Fletcher. Again, nothing on those players. They're very solid depth cornerback guys. I just don't think that they are the right people for that position. I hope they prove me wrong. But you look at the Patriots. I don't even think they are.
No.
They're taking a Pro Bowl safety in Devin McCourty and giving him reps at cornerback. Not only that, but you're starting to get some distrust and some rumblings in that group when you have Devin McCourty, who's normally a very pro-Patriot company guy, coming out and saying,
I don't want it.
I'd rather play safety, but I'll do what I have to do. That's Devin McCourty's way of saying, F you, I want to play safety. I'm not playing cornerback again. I just want to sit back there. I want to play center field again because none of these guys are that good. I don't blame Devin McCourty. I'd want to sit back and play center field too. If somebody gets burnt, well, it was their fault. I did all I could. I tried. I couldn't do it. If Devin McCourty's playing cornerback, he's getting burnt. Does anybody remember Devin McCourty as a cornerback? I do.
I don't.
I remember him. Great rookie season. I think he was in the top 5 in the NFL in picks. After that, nothing. Then they had to move him to safety. You want to know why? Because safety's an easier position to play.
It's safe.
You play center. You know what your job is as a safety? And you know what? If there are football people out there that are listening to this and getting mad at me, obviously this is a guy who I've played 1 year of football. I don't know all the X's and O's of it. This is my thought on it. Do you know what the safety's job is? Don't let anyone buy you. If the furthest guy goes in the stands, you go 1 row deeper. Don't let anyone buy you. That's what you have to do.
He's the last resort.
There you go.
If other people get burned, it's his job to not get burned.
Well, not only, but just try to minimize the damage. That's what he does. And he does a great job of it. He is a Pro Bowl safety. But I remember what this defense looked like with Devin McCourty as a Pro Bowl safety without a all-world corner like Darrelle Revis. It stunk. And it's going to stink again. I don't care that Devin McCourty just got a big new deal. I don't care that inside the building they think Malcolm Butler is the next big thing. I don't care that Logan Ryan really took a lot from Darrelle Revis. These are all the storylines that are coming out right from the Patriots. I don't really know if I agree with all those. The fact is, you lost Darrelle Revis. You lost Brandon Browner. There's only so much makeup you can put on a pig here. And yes, we'll talk about the front 7 in a little bit. They're going to help enormously to the secondary. I think if they would have kept Revis with this front 7, they couldn't because of the cap, obviously, but if they could have worked something out to keep all these pieces, this would be the best defense in the NFL.
Super Bowl 5
hands
confirmed.
down.
Super Bowl
Hands
5
down.
confirmed. I wouldn't be sitting here like, oh, I hope the Patriots win another Super Bowl. I'd be like,
They're winning.
there is no one who is going to beat them in the Super Bowl with that defense.
Right.
However, we're looking at a completely different situation here, and now I'm still a little bit sketched about it.
But no, it's just, it doesn't look good from that group between Logan Ryan, Bradley Fletcher. You got Butler out for God only knows what. You got McCourty kind of making rumblings of, I really don't want to play corner. I want to play safety. It just doesn't really look good. We'll see how they do in training camp. I know that this cornerback group really brought not only a lot in themselves out from the high play at training camp, but also in the receiver group. There was a lot of contact. There was a lot of guys getting roughed up. I remember watching Revis and Edelman go at it in training camp, and it was awesome. Those are, 2 guys that, never let up, high competitive guys. It was really good to see, and I just hope that, maybe this year, instead of the cornerback group really riling up the wide receiver group, you might have the wide receiver group, really getting in the face of these guys after they toast them a few times saying, hey, let's go. Let's play now. You just got toasted a few times. What are you going to do about it? You going to let me toast you a 3rd time, or are you going to get up, stand up like a man, and fight? We'll see what happens. I have all the faith in this team. I got all the faith in the head coach and the staff, But as a fan and as fun as doing this with you, our podcast, this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to criticize. We're supposed to have some hot takes. That's my hot take. I'm really nervous about the secondary group more than ever now for all those reasons. Bradley Fletcher, Logan Ryan, McCourty making mumblings, Butler nowhere to be seen.
I mean,
this is scary. This is getting scary.
I don't know how hot the take is, but it's 10,000% true. I think it's quite evident what's going on with that, and from what you and I have looked at, especially what they did in the draft, it's completely clear that they're trying to be a very rush heavy defense. They want to rough up the quarterback, keep the running back at bay. Make the quarterback make mistakes, get in his head, that type of defense. Whether or not that's going to be effective remains to be seen. But like you said, I remember Devin McCourty, all pro Bowl safety with crappy cornerbacks around him. It's not pretty. The defense is, I remember it well, all too well actually.
Yeah.
And it really all comes down to what it's going to come down to game time and see what this front seven can do to help them out. Because at this rate, I'm not really excited. Not as excited as last year. Last year's offseason, I was dumbfounded that the Patriots actually, signed a lot of big names. Darrelle Revis being the biggest, and that paid off. That got him a Super Bowl. That defense was very good this year, but
last year now,
all things got to come to an end.
No, yeah, it's just kind of sad. We'll see what, like you said, it comes down to game time. If this secondary comes out and plays at a level that keeps them in games, and maybe they win them a game or two, I'll be the first one to come on here and eat crow, say I was wrong, say that Logan Ryan, Bradley Fletcher, Darrell Roberts, Malcolm Butler, they are really making a difference. They stepping up, they're doing a great job. Until then, I'm gonna stick with what I think, and that's what I think.
Do you think that what we're gonna see here is a little? Do you think it's I think it's possible, but do you think we'll actually see the front seven become a massive powerhouse? To the point where they make every quarterback look silly, and therefore they start throwing some errant passes, start throwing some ducks, and make these cornerbacks look better than they actually are.
No, I don't think so. I think it's really, I don't know. I can't. There aren't really many front sevens in today's NFL that do that, just because the passing offenses are so advanced now and so dominant on most teams. I don't think we're going to have a front seven that just, makes teams look silly from week in and week out. Granted, they're going to do a very good job, and I think that, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But what scares me is the fact that they've boosted their run defense up so much, they're going to make quarterbacks pass. And making quarterbacks pass just feeds into the Patriots' main weakness on defense. That secondary group, you added a bunch of players to that front seven that are very good against the run. You re-upped Alan Branch, who is one of the best run stuffing nose tackles in the NFL. You brought back Brandon Spikes, who is, I believe, the best run stopping linebacker in the NFL. You signed Jabal Sheard, who is one of the best run stuffing defensive ends in all of football. You make all these moves to make quarterbacks want to pass. They're going to want to pass now, not only because the Patriots are super weak in the secondary, but also because they're so strong in the front seven. So maybe if they know that they're going to pass, those cornerbacks are going to be a little bit more ready. They're going to be prepared. They know the ball's coming their way. They're going to be on edge. I don't really know. All I know, that front seven, though, you're right. I think that they're improved from last year. It's hard to say a team can improve after losing a guy like Vince Wilfork in the offseason. I do. I think that they are improved. I think they improved a lot. I think with the addition of Jabal Sheard, the addition of Brandon Spikes, keeping Gerard Mayo around, hopefully having Dante Hightower back healthy, having Jamie Collins for his third year, having Chandler Jones keep picking up his fifth-year option, giving him some stability. Hopefully he has another good year. Rob Ninkovich, paying him, keeping him happy. Drafting Malcolm Brown, drafting Trey Flowers, having Dominic Easley come back healthy. Those are big names. That's a lot of high draft picks. That's a lot. It's a lot of resources going to that front seven. I think they're going to be elite. I think they're going to be a top 3 front seven. But to answer your question, no. I don't think any front seven in today's NFL is going to make a team look silly week in and week out. They're going to have their struggles. They just are. The pass rush scares me a little bit just because of the fact of more game plan than personnel. I don't think Belichick likes to let the dogs off the chain. I don't think he likes to do that. He likes to keep guys in their lanes. If you get a sack, good. If you don't, whatever. And do your job, that type of thing.
And you don't think that's going to propel the talent that we perceive these cornerbacks to have? You don't think any front seven is capable of that either?
If any front seven is they're going to help them a little bit. I don't think it's going to be
I'm saying like a good quarterback like Tom Brady can make kind of good receivers look amazing.
Right.
A good front seven make kind of okay to mediocre cornerbacks look good?
Yes and no. I know.
It's just been something that's
right. No,
it's been in my head for the last 2 weeks. Like we saw Brady do it with some wide receivers all the time.
That's a week by week question for me.
Okay,
that's a week by week question. You look at, obviously he's Tom Brady for a reason, but you look at what Tom Brady did in the Super Bowl. Would you say the Seahawks have a great front seven?
Yeah.
Would you say the Seahawks have a great secondary?
Yeah.
Look what Tom Brady did.
Okay.
They couldn't help each other. But then you look at, look at what the Ravens have had success doing the past couple of years. Their front sevens have been phenomenal. Their secondaries have been very weak and mediocre. They've won a Super Bowl. They've been to the AFC divisional round a few times. They've made the playoffs every year with an offense that really isn't anything that special. So it can happen. I'm not saying it can't happen, but what I'm saying is it all depends on who you're lining up against. It's going to be a week-to-week thing. When they're lining up against guys like Matt Castle, absolutely. When they're lining up against guys like, say, I'm trying to think who they play this year. But again, they don't play many good quarter. You know what? No. Their regular season schedule this year, you're right. The front seven will make up for a lot of what the back, normally four guys lack in talent and skill and experience. But when they get to the playoffs and they face guys like probably Andrew Luck, maybe Peyton Manning, maybe if they, I hope they make it that far, a guy like Aaron Rodgers, maybe Russell Wilson again, heck, maybe even Tony Romo, then they might be issues.
Joe Flacco?
Well, I'm talking about Super Bowl at that point. So
okay.
But you're right. But no, playoff Joe Flacco. I don't know.
Dude's cold as ice.
Yeah, that's why he's so good in the playoffs. He just doesn't care.
So we spent a lot of time talking about the defense. I want to go back to offense now, because we talked a lot about Garoppolo, and I know the offense we've been talking the last couple weeks has been just about Brady this, Brady that, DeflateGate this, DeflateGate that, and I'm sick of it. So let's move on, because OTAs have started, and the offense, especially the tight ends of this offense. Mainly Rob Gronkowski and what's the new guy?
Scott Chandler.
They've been lining up together, and Brady's just been wrecking the defense with them. And a lot of people are really hyping this up and riding this as their bright spot of the offense. This OTAs.
Yeah, no, I mean that's one of the huge things to come out. Really is not by no surprise to me is the fact that Rob Gronkowski and Scott Chandler are working so well together, especially in red zone sets. Two tight end red zone sets are just very, very efficient in today's NFL. The fact that, you can run, you can pass, you can play action. There's so many options. Defenses don't know what's really going to come their way. And the fact that you have two big tight ends like Rob Gronkowski and even Scott Chandler, who doesn't have the same blocking ability as a Rob Gronkowski or even as a Michael Ho'omanawa-Nui. The fact is that he can still get in there and he can still block. I think he's working. He said he was going to really try to work on his run blocking skills this offseason to just diversify his game that much more. But it really doesn't surprise me that Brady is, playing well with two red zone targets that are 6'6" and 6'7". I think Chandler's actually an inch taller than Gronk. I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure. But that's no surprise to me. The fact that you have, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time having these two humongous red zone options, and he can just find them. I do think that they are going to go back to being a more two tight end set team. I don't think Scott Chandler is the same athlete that an Aaron Hernandez was. I think that he's a little bit different, but I still think he can fit into that move tight end role a little bit better than Tim Wright can. I still don't know what to think of Tim Wright. I thought that he was really going to step up and be that Aaron Hernandez type replacement, but he just wasn't. I have a lot of hope for Scott Chandler. I think that he's going to put up some very impressive numbers this year. Obviously not a level that's going to get him to the Pro Bowl or even obviously not Rob Gronkowski level. I think this is a guy who can have, 30 to 40 catches, 500-plus yards, and probably reel in 5 to 6 touchdowns, which as a number 2 tight end, that's nothing to shake a stick at.
No, and that it just opens up a whole nother avenue for this offense because you look at what we were talking about was, you've got Edelman and Amendola and all those little guys who can really make an impact in the short-range game. But then you talk about they're so easy to stop, and Gronk is really the trump card. If you add another trump card, that's another answer. You can put every guy on Gronk. You could put all 11 on Gronk and try to stop him. But, I mean, now you've got another option.
And, again, I'm glad that Belichick is going to the well again. Obviously, I was very excited with the Chandler signing. He's going back to the well of, if you can't stop him, sign him. He's done that before. Look at Wes Welker, a guy that used to tear apart the Patriots when he was a Miami Dolphin, signed by the Patriots, obviously became the founding father of the slot receiver dynasty.
The founding father of the New England Patriots regiment of super small, super fast white receivers.
Yeah, and then you look at a guy like Brandon LaFell last year. In 2012, when the Patriots played Carolina, I think he had 6 or 7 catches, over 100 yards, and a touchdown. That offseason, they signed him. And Scott Chandler is a guy that even Belichick joked about it after he signed him. A guy that's always played well against us. We've had a hard time to stop. I'm glad that Belichick's gonna finally get, like you said, get that card. I wouldn't call him a trump card like Gronk, but I'd call him. He's a very, very solid joker up the sleeve that Belichick can now play. I think that he's gonna have a very, very successful career here in New England. He seems like a guy that'll fit right in with Gronk. Kind of a goofy big guy, but at the end of the day, when it's time to work, he's gonna work. I have a lot of high hopes for that. And that's the good thing about this offseason for me is the fact that I think this offense is going to be much better than last year, and
top
it was
5?
very good. Yeah,
Top 5?
Absolutely. I would even go as to say top 3 offense in the NFL. Maybe not numbers wise.
Maybe the best.
Now, see, because I just think Green Bay and you look at Indy, they just put up stupid points. But I just think at the end of the day, when you the eye test of who is the best, what teams have the best offenses in football. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be, you're going to look at Green Bay. They're phenomenal at offense. But then the Patriots are going to be right up there. Indy, they're going to lead in every stat category because that's the Super Bowl for them because they're a coward, team. But anyways,
shots launched.
I just think that the Patriots are just going to be very efficient. They are going to know what they want to do with the ball. They're not going to put up. Brady's not going to throw 300 yards a game. He's going to, throw between 200 to 275. Some games he'll throw 350, but he's going to do what they need to win the game. They're going to be efficient. They know what they want to do with the ball, and they're going to do it. I think they're going to be better than last year.
Well, they're not going to be the he's not going to be throwing, 200 to 300 a game if the suspension goes through. That's kind of my side joke. And also another side thing was if you can't beat him, sign him. It was kind of a preemptive signing there with Brandon Browner and beating the Seahawks, but
yeah, there you go, and that
was a preemptive signing.
Well, you say that. I remember that right after they signed him, the video started to pop up all over again of when the Patriots played the Seahawks in CenturyLink in 2012. I believe.
It was a couple years ago.
Welker got lit up by Brandon Browner, and that just
Speaking of signing, if you can't beat him, sign him, and Wes Welker, and all this junk. Heard rumors. Here we go. Heard rumors that Welker.
Get the hot take cannon ready. Here it comes.
Something about Welker.
Something.
Wanting
Wes
to come
Welker
back.
wants to come back. Yeah. I love Wes Welker. I loved Wes Welker. He broke my heart. And
that's why I hate Wes Welker.
There you go.
Because Julian Edelman won't break my heart.
You say that now, but
I say that now because he won't. He's a sweetheart. He's a gentleman.
Anyways, I just I have a heavy bias with Wes Welker. Wes Welker was actually my first Patriots jersey. I was a huge Wes Welker guy. When he left, I was so disappointed. I really blamed him. I didn't blame the team at all. That was before I started to look more critically at the team. Now I'm a little...
No, I definitely blamed him.
I'm a little different now. Looking back at that situation, I think that, it was definitely a mixture of both sides. I don't think Belichick really ever got along with him. I think there was something about him that he didn't like. I think Kraft loved Welker because Welker made him a lot of money, and he was good in the he was good in the community.
83 was a high-selling jersey
83
number.
was a high-selling jersey number, but I just don't think Belichick was a big fan of him. I don't think, he might not have prepared as much as he wanted. I don't really know. I know Brady loved Welker. Brady still loves Welker. You see them going to the Derby still. They're still boys. But at the football point, what will Wes Welker add?
Why do we need him?
What does he add?
We already got it. We already have it.
And not only that, you already have it. You already have the backup for it. And after that, you have the backup for the backup. I'll take Josh Boyce over Wes Welker right now, just because I think Josh Boyce obviously doesn't have the same route ability and ability to get into this playbook, obviously, as he's barely been on the field. But in terms of his speed, the fact that he hasn't had 17 million concussions, I would feel more safe with putting number 82 out. As I say that, watch him get cut within the next 2 hours. But
that's how it goes.
So I don't know. I love Wes Welker. I would love if he could add something to this team, I would love it. I would love to see Edelman, Welker, Amendola, LaFell, Gronk. Heck, hey, NFL Network, we're getting Randy back. Randy's coming back. Hop on the team. Tim Wright, no more 81 for you. Hey, I still think
Stop.
Randy Moss can still play in today's NFL. I got no doubt. That guy's a freak athlete. He could play in the NFL until he's 55.
I read a story of a prediction of the Super Bowl on Reddit.
Boy.
And they do like stupid ones, and one was that it's the Patriots are down by 7 with 20 seconds left, and they're on their own 20. Brady calls a huddle, sends someone out of the huddle, and there's only 10 men on the field, and then all of a sudden you see a suited man running out of the crowd, and it's Randy Moss. Rips off his suit. There's an 81 jersey. Puts on a helmet. Catches an 80-yard touchdown with 10 seconds left, and they go for 2 to win it. Belichick ascends to the heavens. Tom Brady makes love to Giselle on the field. It's like the funniest thing, and Marshawn Lynch Marshawn Lynch actually before Belichick ascends to the heavens gives Bill Belichick a handshake for hating interviews.
No, I just,
it was something
That's
so,
pretty funny.
and that was from a Seahawks fan.
That's pretty
That was
funny.
hilarious.
But no, I loved Wes. It's kind of like the Godfather scene. You broke my heart. Like, it was that kind of, that's
Literally.
he did. He broke my heart. I wish if he had something
Julian
that-
was definitely the rebound girl, but the rebound girl that treats you right.
There you go. But Wes, if he had something to add to this team, if he had something to really bring and show that he can still play, he can still be productive. Not even as as big of a role as he was. Even if he could come in as the fourth or fifth receiver and catch one game, have 5 or 6 catches, but that's the difference. I would love it. I would love that signing, but I just don't think he is that anymore. He couldn't do it in an offense that throws all the time in Denver. Granted, I think that was partially because of noodle arm and the fact that his arm got a little overcooked, but I just can't see it. If they bring him in,
I don't think he can add anything really.
if they bring him in, then great. I would love to be wrong, and if he does something great, if he does something well, then I would love to put on my 83 jersey again. I would absolutely love it. Can't see it happening.
No.
I don't see a team taking a risk on Welker. I think a bunch of teams in NFL circles know that he is one hit away from a disaster.
He's one hit away from the cuckoo house.
I mean,
Granted,
best case scenario,
you could argue that Jules is the same way.
No.
You heard him in the Super Bowl.
I disagree with you.
He
I
was
think
hurting.
No, okay. There's a difference between hurting and there's a difference between hurting and Wes Welker. There is a big. I think Wes Welker is very, very down the line of hard hits, and that's nothing taking away from the hit that Edelman took. That's nothing saying that Edelman.
I'm just saying that Edelman sounded super concussed at the end of that Super Bowl.
Oh well, I'm sure he was, but
He sounded like he was on another planet. And I'm not saying it wasn't entertaining. I'm just saying I worry for the guy because he's such a huge asset for this offense. And
I
you
don't
don't
think.
wanna,
I
you
don't
don't want to
think
see
that's
that
anything
happening.
you got to worry about right now. But hey, if it is, then why not bring in Welker?
Oh yeah,
I would like it, but it's not going to happen.
I mean, I'm just so indifferent. I don't really care.
There you go.
I will love to bring anyone into this team who is willing
gonna help.
to help out.
There you go.
But I just don't see a place for Welker. I don't know. Maybe put Welker in Julian's spot and put Julian at quarterback to start. Who knows? Can Welker throw? That's my one question. Because that's what he would bring to the team. That's what Julian brings to the team that he can't.
True.
Julian was the quarterback. But
True.
to end today's show off, instead of
Probably going to be one of our longer end segments.
yeah, because we're both jersey number nerds, and the rookies got their numbers officially, and me and Cody are nerds like that, so we like to go through. We're gonna look at the big ones. Some people got to keep similar numbers to what they had in college. You look at Malcolm Brown, I believe he was 90 in college. Now he's 92.
Yeah, that doesn't really show a good sign for Jake Beckett, who was a defensive end out of Arkansas, drafted in 2012. I think he was a third-round pick. He has been 92 for a while. I think he still is 92. And granted, some of these numbers, they're going to be the same as other veteran players at this point. There's 90 players on the roster. There's going to be a little bit of overlap. So once the team starts cutting people down, these numbers could change.
Yeah.
You look at a guy like Malcolm Brown at 92. I believe Zach Moore's number 90, which was, like you said, Brown's number in college. So if Zach Moore would get cut, I would have to imagine that before the start of the regular season, you have Malcolm Brown switch to number 90. One of the most notable changes, I think, that has happened in the recent years was Dante Hightower switching from 45 to 54 once Brian Waters seemed to call it a career.
Yep.
Hightower went in and got that, legendary,
legendary
linebacker number.
legendary Brewski
Not only
number.
Brewski, but I feel like you look at a lot of linebackers across the league, and 54 is really, I think, you look at Urlacher is one of those guys too that, really did kind of define the number at 54. But anyways, we'll get back to the rookies. Malcolm Brown, 92. I got no issue with that. The only two numbers I'd rather see him have would be 90, obviously his college number, or, there's that part of you that you want him to take 75.
You want it.
Did anybody get 75?
He's literally Wilfork. We've already done this.
I don't think anybody has it yet.
No one has it.
Yeah, nobody's got
There's
it yet.
two
That doesn't surprise
74s.
me.
Trey Flowers and Dominic Easley both have 74.
Right, and
now.
actually, speaking of that, I believe Dominic Easley did switch from 74 to 99. I'm pretty happy with that because 99 is that beast defensive lineman number, and Easley, I hope, becomes that beast. It was Michael Buchanan, who was a 7th-round pick in 2012, I believe, ended up getting cut. He had number 99. Glad that a guy like Easley, hopefully he's going to make a big difference on this defensive line, gets that sweet, sweet number 99.
I seriously think Malcolm Brown's going to get 75 eventually. I would love to
see
it. He literally just looks like baby Wilfork.
He does.
He looks like he
does.
Yeah, just a younger version of him.
So
same size, same face.
Some other big, obviously they have a pretty big rookie class, but we're just going to go through some of the more notable names, guys that we've been talking about. Darrell Roberts, Swag Island, 28. That's all right. Whenever I think 28 for the Patriots, there's only one guy that really comes to my mind. Do you know who I'm thinking of?
I don't.
Come on, man.
I really don't.
CD, 04.
Oh, jeez.
Running back.
I wore
Dylan.
I wore his jersey the first Patriots game I ever
Dylan.
went to.
Yeah,
he wasn't even on the team at that point, but I still wore it.
Yeah, you got to. He was, I always loved in Madden 07 when it was like, I'm pretty sure there was a glitch in the game where I think Corey Dillon was still on the roster then, but it was like whenever you had a running back, even if you traded for somebody different and you went on like a couple of big runs, the crowd would go, Corey, because it's just classic
That's
PS2.
hilarious.
But anyway, so
classic game design, classic game programming.
Matt Wells, linebacker. This is something cool, actually. Linebackers got linebackers, and there was a rule change. They can now have numbers 40 to 59 and then 90 to 99. This year's the rule change. So Matt Wells, linebacker out of Mississippi State, a guy that our friend Steve Balistrieri from Pat's 4th and 2 really is high on, gets number 44. It's kind of, I remember, obviously I don't remember him, he was before my time, but Brian Bosworth, I think he went to Oklahoma, but he was a Seattle Seahawks linebacker. He actually couldn't wear, I think he was number 40-something in college, couldn't wear it in the pros, and a lot of older guys on Twitter were saying that, this is just like, this one's for the Boz. There's a great ESPN 30 for 30. It's called Brian and the Boz. Highly recommend it on Netflix. Go watch it now. Geno Grissom, 48, same story. That's kind of lame, actually. I was hoping he'd get it. I want Geno to have a better number than 48. That's a guy who hopefully we're going to see some big things out of that versatile weapon.
Talk about 49. The guy,
there he is.
Your sleeper pick.
My guy.
Joe Cardona.
Joe Cardona. No, I think that's 40s is typically a long snapper number, fullback number. You look at
49 is a good
Devlin.
long snapper number. I like
that.
Yeah,
that's a good long. I think 48 was Danny Aiken the past couple of years, so 49 for Joe Cardona. That's solid. David Andrews, a guy who I was high up on before the draft. He was an undrafted free agent. Pretty glad that they got him. He gets number 60. Highest paid undrafted free agent in Patriots history. A guy that you got to imagine is going to come around. The next guy who we have a lot to talk about right now, actually. Obviously, a big fan of yours, Trey Jackson.
He's my boy.
The guard out of Florida State. Interesting. Do you know who was number 63 last year?
I do not remember because it's one of those numbers that you don't really
offensive
remember.
linemen are hard. It took me about half the season to get offensive lineman numbers down. But
was that Stork?
No, 66 is Stork. Route 66. That's how I know Stork. But Dan Connolly was number 63. So that's interesting that Dan Connolly is actually still out there as a free agent. A lot of guys, including my friend Mike DeSalda at Pat's Propaganda, has said for a while that he still thinks they're going to bring back Dan Connolly. He hopes they do. But when Trey Jackson got 63, Mike came out and said that is not a good sign for Dan Connolly coming back. I would have to agree with him. I don't think that Connolly will be back. They're going to go forward. Trey Jackson, 63. That's a big inside offensive lineman number. They're going to expect big things from him.
You have no idea how excited I am to see 63 right next to 66, just like the glory days.
Yes.
Oh, it's going to be so good to see them playing together.
Also, how funny is this, that we are hinging our hopes on players from their jersey numbers? It's kind of sad, but
I mean, that's how you recognize.
In a
them.
sense, that's kind of like it's what people do too.
It's how you recognize
There
them.
you go. Yeah.
12 is always going to be associated with
Yes.
Brady, unless you live west of the Mississippi, in which you're an idiot for associating it
See,
with a
we're
fan
gonna,
base.
We're gonna disagree with this. Any sport, who do you 33?
Larry Bird.
Jason Varitek.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
That's
Vitek.
probably one of the hard ones. That's
Yeah.
probably one of the harder ones in
23.
Jordan.
Okay.
I mean, well, that's not Boston, but how about this one? 34.
34. Oh, dude.
That's a hard
don't mess
one.
with me like this.
That's a hard one.
It's always going to be Pierce for me, though.
Yeah. See, I'm a
it's always-
baseball guy. You're a basketball guy. I'm a
See,
baseball
it's always
guy.
going to be Pierce for me because like I grew up with Paul
I
Pierce.
know.
I grew up with the crappy Celtics.
Yeah,
and it's
see
just
that
like,
I feel like you grew up in more of a
Yep.
basketball house. I grew up in more of a
All
baseball
right.
house. So
number 4.
or
Obviously.
yeah,
Obviously.
I was
Boston
like,
sports
yeah,
guys.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of who
6.
6? Not LBJ.
No,
I'm
Boston.
You're
There's
thinking
two
Boston?
huge ones.
They're slipping my mind right
Oh
now.
my goodness, Russell and Pesky. That was
There you go.
That was the
Russell.
argument,
Yep.
and I think
Oh, was it? Okay. I didn't know there was an
I-
argument between them.
I mean, it's really not, but kind of, just because Johnny Pesky, just because Johnny Pesky. Anyways, let's get back to this.
We had no. We had one earlier. 19. Because that's my number.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Everyone's gonna go.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna go Beckett because that's what they grew up with.
Oh, God.
Nelly, dude, Nelly though, Celtics player who was
That's
like he's on these so many lists from for like all time
Oh
greats.
my god!
And the only reason I know him is because 19 is my number.
You know who
so.
else was 19 for the? Look up. I think it was John. It was. It's funny. It's
LaFell is
no,
19,
Yeah,
isn't
but
he?
it's Burke. Look up like John Burkett or something like. No, it was Patriots. Red Sox.
Oh, Red Sox.
John Burkett or something like that. I can't remember his name. Burkett maybe. It's funny because it's kind of like Beckett.
It's
Yes.
kind of close to Josh
Yes.
Beckett. Yeah.
Yes, that's him. Was he 19? Yes. Yes.
2002,
That's
2003
so funny.
Sox.
Oh, I remember. That was right when I was starting getting into baseball cards. I remember the Topps total set.
Yeah.
I had like 14 doubles of him because he stunk and he was like an easy card to get. And I was
See,
like, why do I have all
It's
these?
funny because former sports director here, Cody Beckett, had a 19 Beckett jersey, and he's like, "Yeah, it's funny. I hate Josh Beckett, but 19's my number." And I'm like, "Dude, 19's been my number since high school."
Yeah.
Die.
So
That was my number. High school soccer is either 19 or 20 because 20 was usually taken. So
Shaq Mason.
Shaq Mason with-
something 69 joke here. But
insert 69 joke
there you
here.
go.
I'm glad if someone was gonna get it, it's a name like Shaq Mason.
I wish it was Stork, but that'd be funny if Stork.
I wish it was Trey Jackson. Stork would
Would
be
you
good.
would you get a Trey Jackson jersey?
I would.
Okay,
I would get a Stork jersey if it was 69.
that's funny.
Trey
Trey Flowers 74. I got to imagine that one's going to change. That's a kid who's
Yeah.
going to be around. AJ Derby 86 again. Yeah, tight end. I'm glad he didn't get something in the 40s. I'm glad he got an 80 number. He more of a receiving tight end.
Yeah.
You like to see that. So then some notable changes are, if you keep going down, talk about some guys who were signed, some free agents to switching numbers. Obviously, Easley's going to switch to 99, or so we are inclined to think. Keep going. So a couple of the ones, Bradley Fletcher, cornerback from Philly that the Patriots signed, takes number 24, which makes me want to throw up in my mouth. Don't really feel good about that. Again, I hope it proves me wrong. I really do. I want him. I want to eat crow on this. I want them to be good in that secondary. But I'm sorry. I think 24 should be reserved unless you are an All-Pro cornerback.
Yep.
One of the best. Honestly, if I was, I have too many Patriots jerseys. I don't need another one. If I was gonna buy another one today, it would be a Jabal Sheard number 93. I love him getting 93. Whenever I think 93 of the Patriots, you got to think, Richard Seymour. By no means is he a Richard Seymour, but the fact that he gets that number, hopefully he can do that number proud. I think he will. And then you look at a guy who we were talking about hyping up, Scott Chandler, 88. That's a good number too. I love the number 88. That's, I think that's going to be a good fit.
He's an 8-year player. That's crazy.
Yeah, he is. He's been in the pros for a while. And then finally we get to, probably one of the more surprising number changes. Tom Brady changes from 12
stop.
to 12.5.
Stop! I saw that one coming from a mile away. Oh yeah, that'd be hilarious if he just came out with a 0.5 on his jersey. Like, don't even make a special jersey. Just put a piece of duct tape on your back that says 0.5. That'd be hilarious.
I actually
It's
had
very cheeky.
talking about, again, this is the ending. We can do this. So
Oh yeah, this is the longest ending segment we've done yet. So.
I had, obviously Twitter is life now. So it's like on Twitter, I was having a conversation with somebody one day, and I said it would be I would, as much as it would hurt me that he would be done after this year, it would just be perfect if Brady, it'd be funny if Brady just, took the 4-game suspension, was like, nope, fine, I'll do it, whatever, I don't care. Took the 4-game suspension, came back, they don't lose a game with Brady, they go win the Super Bowl. As Goodell is handing the Lombardi trophy to Brady, shakes Goodell's hand. Brady just looks at him and says, F you, takes the trophy, flips him off, goes to the mic and says, I'm retiring now. End. C'est fin.
And a lot of people wanted him to do that after this DeflateGate crap came out. Like, dude, I don't need your crap anymore. I have 4 Super Bowls. I'm out. But I feel like it would be better for his image after 5. However, I don't know how good it would be for your image to tell the commissioner to F off and flip him off. Granted, not saying it's not warranted.
If anything, I think most of the NFL would rejoice.
Actually, yeah.
I think it would help. I think it would help.
Dude, just as a closing note, I love how just these sports pundits are coming out like there's no way the Patriots are going to outnumber the other owners in trying to go against Goodell. They're like trying to act like everyone's against the Patriots because they all love Goodell. Like, really? Are you going to try to spin me that crap now? Goodell's awful. Everyone hates Goodell.
All right, so is this our one rant we can do about Deflategate here?
No, that was just me laughing at everyone trying to convince me that everyone's on Roger Goodell's side and everything.
Okay, really quick here. Rebuttal to Felger. They always talk about, and this is actually I kind of agree with them. This is actually not a rebuttal. This is the exact opposite. But one of their points.
This is jumping on the Felger and Maz train.
One of their points I agree with, the fact that talking about how Kraft helped put this guy in power.
Yeah, I was listening to that.
He did. And Kraft is right when he's trying to rally owners and say, hey, I know this is me right now, but this could be you next time. When you have a rolling through a stop sign problem and you get put on, death row, that when it happens to you, you're not going to like it. So it's happened to me. Come help. Let's go. Let's change this. If Kraft really believed that, he should have been out there criticizing the owner after the Ray Rice dilemma, not going on Good Morning America and saying, I think the commissioner did a very good job. That just didn't look good. It just, I think Kraft has good ideas and morals, and, he's trying to do the right thing, but that is what kills him here. If he came out, or even if he didn't say anything, just didn't say anything, you don't need to say Roger's doing a great job or Roger's doing a bad job. Just be quiet. If he just stays quiet, then he can go to these other owners and say, hey, look, he messed that up. He messed us up. This guy is kind of he's a loose cannon. We need to get him out, blah, blah. And you know what? I think the owners would probably come with him. But the fact that he came out and said how great of a job Roger did, blah, blah, and now it looks like he's crying because things didn't go right for his team, that is what's killing him here. And I think at the end of the day, that's what's really going to do it for them. Yeah. It's kind of unfortunate.
I see it as just a portrayal of trust. Like, you want your owners to be behind you, and as someone with a relationship like Kraft and Goodell had, of course, in that type of situation, Kraft's going to do that, and then kind of behind the scenes go, "You see what I did? I did that for you, bud."
And then bring up a great point.
And then you come around the other way, and he stabs him in the back, quote unquote.
I was going to say, you bring up a great point. And what did that give you? What did standing up for Goodell at that point really do for you in the long run? Nothing. If anything, it hurt you. It hurt you.
So Kraft, for being loyal to someone who would be beneficial to him to be loyal to, stabbed him in the back.
There you go.
And we're gonna sit here and talk about the idiocy of that. I don't know. That's why I hate stuff like this.
Something Shaq Mason wears 69.
Something we should be talking about football, but instead we're gonna talk about air in the footballs instead of the sport that is played with them. But nonetheless, thank you for listening. We ended up making that last segment turn into a full-size segment, so hope you enjoyed that. Us jersey number nerds over here.
That's right.
You'll see me wearing an 11 Edelman jersey probably within the next couple months.
Can't wait to break out that new 54 jersey.
Yeah. I want to get that Celtics 11 jersey eventually as well, though. So
God.
He won the regular season MVP for them.
Stop.
So he was the Celtics MVP of the year.
Stop.
All right, Evan Turner for MVP.
How about that 36? That's a bad number.
You'll hear us next week on all three phases. We'll have some more guests joining us. Steve was the first of many of our Patriots friends who we want to hear their opinions. We want to start bantering with them a little bit.
So stay on the lookout. We'll have some pretty big names. A lot of you guys that listen should recognize some of these names. Maybe some that you buy stuff from. Maybe some that you go to their blogs almost every day, like myself. We'll see what happens.
Well, I'm a Tumblr nerd, so I reblog Mike all the time.
I think there's going to be some great stuff coming on the show pretty soon here.
So yeah, thanks for listening. Go Pats. We'll see you next week, and try to stay out of the sun a little bit.
New England, the Patriots and me, rolling on to victory.
Hello?
See, yours works, mine doesn't.
Hello? Haha. Welcome to the Hail to the Hoodie show. I'm your host, Hail to the Hoodie, and on this episode we will talk